Brian Nudie and Joe Wright just getting by Brian Murrell Jr. as Nick Mather continues to lead over Todd Mayse as they're trying to get through this mess of cars. Uncle Todd trying to sneak through. Now he's stuck behind, trying to find his way around this line of cars, and that allowed Nick Mather to get out in front just a little bit. See, Joe Wright now has Brian Murrell Jr. hooked onto the back bumper as they try to make their way back up towards Todd Mayse and Nick Mather. They are currently one lap down. This group up in front here. Oh, yellow flag is out. I believe that is a competition caution to catch everybody up, get pit stops done. As Nick Mather is going to run around and catch the pace car. Kevin, you have yourself a safe one. Sorry I couldn't see my Facebook or YouTube chats for some reason, but be safe out there, and we'll catch you on the next one. So Nick Mather catches the pace car. Field's going to roll together here. Pit road should be open. Pit road is open to the leaders, which will be Nick Mather, Todd Mayse. Brian Murrell Jr. stays out. He had the opportunity to come down and pit that time. He actually stayed out. Although that's not going to hurt him too much, as he is the only other car one lap down. So as we approach the 27 minutes to go mark, everybody will have the opportunity to make their way down pit road, get damage fixed, take tires, take fuel. That should give them enough fuel to make it to the end. These cars do take quite a bit of time to get fueled and tires.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, what's going on?
Josh.
Yeah, I'm here. Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Is the stream not working?
It is working.
Okay, because everybody says it's down.
Sorry about that. League admin Brian Nudie jumping in, giving me some information. So, got a little mid-race break here, getting these guys all caught up. I do apologize if there was any kind of stream issue. Something's going on right now. I see the stream is up and live. I see we've got 2 people watching on YouTube. We've got 5 people watching on Facebook. For some reason, my YouTube chat's not working, but I can see you guys on Facebook if you do chat in. And again, I do apologize for the tech issue there. So here we are. We're going to re-rack them, restack them, and get ready to refire them. Looks like we're going to wave around a couple drivers from each class. Get a few people back on the lead lap. Like Devin Buccino receiving a rave around. Brian Nudie getting a wave around. Michael Lawrence getting a wave around. That's going to put Nick Mather with his fixed car back on the front row. And we'll find Todd Mayse to his outside. Brian Murrell will be rolling off in third. As they get the field settled here. And we get ready to go back green flag racing. When we go green flag racing, we'll have about 20 minutes to go as the lights are off on the pace car. as Nick Mather gets ready to lead them back down to the restart zone. Todd Mayse to the outside, second row. You have Brian Murrell Jr. and the 7 of Logan Hagerman. Joe Wright hanging back in the bit, starting back in row number 6. He is currently in 4th place, but restarting behind the slower drivers, along with Brian Nudie back there as we go back to green flag racing. And already you see Joe Wright and Brian Nudie with a mess in front of them. Nudie's going to jump up to the high side. They're going to go 3 wide with Logan Hagerman on the low side. Now Derek Chaput down there. And they're going to finally get around these much slower cars, but losing a ton of time to your leaders, Nick Mather, Brian Murrell Jr., and Todd Mayse. As those two continue to run side by side, Joe's going to dive all the way down to the apron. They are 4 wide as they make their way off of turn number 4. Now Joe's got a lot of ground to gain to get back to the back bumper of Brian Nudie and try to get these two back into the race. You got these 3 Mazda Miatas right here. Blake Hensley, Devin Bacino, Eddie Morris lined up. Then Michael Provo a little further back, trying to get back to this group. He is currently a lap off of... No, he is on the same lap. Everybody, all the classes are on the same lap with each other. So all the Mustangs are currently running lap number 40. All the Miatas are currently on lap 38. And all the Pontiacs are on lap 37. As these 3 Mustangs continue to go at it, Brian Murrell Jr. trying to get around the 1 of Nick Mather on the low side. And Uncle Todd Mayse just kind of hanging back, not offering any help to either driver. Brian Nudie and Joe Wright, though, they've finally caught each other and hooked up. And they're trying to get themselves back up into the mix here. They are currently just about 3 seconds back. As you see where they are in relationship to each other. And trying to catch back up to put themselves in contention for a win here tonight. As the Mazdas now make it 3 wide off of turn number 2. Blake Hensley all the way up to the top with Eddie Morris. Devin Bacino's got Michael Provo giving him a push down on the low side. They make their way off of turn number 4. And this battle continues. Derek Chaput, having some issues on pit road. Not on pit road, but having some issues and getting... might have got spun around here. Let's see if we can see what happened between him. Oh, he gets down on the apron. Loses it. And then we see Logan Hagerman and Michael Cheeseburger going on by Sylvan Seguin. I'm not really sure what happened to Sylvan there. I think Sylvan might have... looked like he got a little looser. Ends up going through the grass, but Chaput able to get it back rolling. Just got passed by those group of Mustangs. Here comes the second group of Mustangs on by. Sylvan Seguin hitting pit road. I think Sylvan was trying to get himself on the pit road, just was carrying too much speed the first time as our leaders make their way to the stripe and put Sylvan down another lap, and that gap is shrinking. Apparently Brian Nudie and Joe Wright gained a second on the leaders. And as long as the leaders are going to run side by side in battle, it's going to allow Nudie and Joe to catch it right up. Also battling, we still have these four Miatas side by side, 2 rows deep. Ooh, Eddie Morris trying to take a look down to the inside, but almost got Blake Hensley a little bit loose there. As Blake has his trademark blinking issue. Right off the nose of Eddie Morse. Gives you a great view at just how fast these cars are going around this track. Eddie getting a good run now up on the high side. He's going to take a look down, or look on the high side, try to get around these drivers. As our top 3 continue to do battle, it's just allowing Brian Nudie and Joe Wright to catch up as they get by the Pontiacs of Logan Hagerman and Michael Provolt. Here comes these 2 Mustangs on by. And you see the speed difference between these 2. It's about 10 miles an hour faster on track, and well, there you have it. Brian Murrell Jr. trying to push Todd Mayse around Nick Mather, but a little too late, as Brian Nudie and Joe Wright are almost within 2 seconds of the leaders. As we see them making their way back up towards the front. And they're coming up on the pack of Miatas once again. The Miatas are 3 wide in front of them. See Nick Mather and Brian Murrell Jr. make evasive actions down to the apron. That's going to keep Todd Mayse stuck and pinned behind. He's got nowhere to go. He's just got to hang in there, stuck behind these Mazdas. Now the Mazdas get single file and allow Uncle Todd to kind of sneak on through, but now they're going to be double file again. And that's really allowed Brian Nudie and Joe Wright to quickly get Nudie going 4-wheeling through the grass. Now Joe goes down onto the apron as well, slides up in front of Michael Provolt. And now you've got Todd Mayse, Brian Nudie, and Joe Wright in line. And they've got an opportunity now to run down Brian Murrell Jr. and Nick Mather. So Nudie not afraid to put that car where it needs to be to get himself up towards the front. So he made an aggressive move down to the apron, and just realized Uncle Todd's headlights aren't on. I don't know if you have the ability to turn them on and off, or if he just has damage and they're broken, but just an observation as Joe Wright now tries to take a look up to the high side, and he's going to push Nudie right on by Uncle Todd as they are coming up on another lapper. I believe that is the Pontiac of Derek Chaput. Joe's going to split down to the apron yet again. As our Mazdas continue to run side by side as they make their way off of turn number 4. So still a bit of a gap back to the Mustangs, who are not in line or really pushing the issue. And you see that second set of Mustangs coming off of turn number 2, and they're coming in a hurry. just about 2 seconds back. Oh, Blake Hensley crashes. Devin Bacino also involved. What happened to our Miatas here? Because they were looking to be 3 wide, and oh, some net code between Blake Hensley, Michael Provolt involved as well. 3 out of the 4 Miatas that were running together all involved. That's going to leave Eddie Morris out there by himself, currently the class leader. But the real battle is about to be up front. It's Nick Mather now approaching the lap car of Sylvain Seguin. You see the 2 different lines that these drivers are running. You see Nick and Brian really pitching it down off the corner. We see Brian Nudie and those 3 behind running more of a traditional line, letting it float up to the wall. That's going to give them quite a bit more speed. And we're seeing that as they are about 0.2 faster as the Mustangs go by the 2 Pontiacs of Logan Hagerman and Cheeseburger Lawrence and the Miata of Blake Hensley. As these 3 make it by those 3. And Canuti has pulled the gap down to under 1.5 seconds as we have under 10 minutes to go here at Atlanta. See Brian Nudie working that wheel. Trying to keep Joe Wright and Todd Mayse behind him. And they're catching the 2 cars in front of them in a hurry. And Nudie having to do a little bit of lifting there. And they've caught him. They have the draft. They're catching the Miata of Eddie Morris. Those 3 Mustangs hooked up on the high side, running much faster than Murrell and Mather. But the lap car is going to stay down low out of the way. Eddie's going to let the faster cars have the high side. Brian Nudie trying to use that draft to try to propel himself up towards the front. Just 7 3/4 minutes left here at Atlanta. Brian Nudie looking up to the high side. Going to try to pinch down Nick Mather and Murrell Jr. as they come up on a couple lap cars. The Pontiac of Derek Chaput and the Miata of Blake Hensley. This could spell trouble as Brian Murrell Jr. gets a little loose getting into the corner. He's able to clear Chaput, able to clear Provolt. Here comes Joe Wright looking down to the inside of Brian Canuti, trying to draft the one of Nick Mather, and those 2 Mountain Dew machines now getting hooked up on the low side. Move Joe Wright up into the 2nd position, but here comes Canuti fighting back on the high side. as these 5 cars battling yet again. So the big question is, when are they going to hit lap traffic? Are they going to hit a group of cars yet again that could really mess up their chances? As Joe Wright thought about making it 3 wide for a second, tucks back in behind Nick Mather. See these 3 running, just coming off of turn number 4 as our leaders are just entering turn number 3. So within the next lap or 2, we should see these Mustangs have to deal with the lap traffic at least one more time before the end of this race. Murrell Jr. taking a look now down to the inside of Brian Canuti. And you can hear those Mazda engines coming by the camera right now. And now the Mustangs come by as they make it 3 wide. Joe makes it 3 wide into turn number 3. He's going to propel himself out to the lead in front of Brian Murrell Jr. and Brian Canuti. And that's just one Mazda of Devin Bacino right there in front as Canuti takes a big look down, swing down to the low side. 5 minutes to go here at Atlanta. What is Devin Bacino going to do? Is he going to try to stay low, out of the way? Is he going to dive down to the apron? He's going to let him fight it out here as Brian Murrell Jr. tries to get a little draft off of Bacino, and Bacino sees this race right in front of him taking place. As the field is coming back up on the back bumper of Logan Hagerman. And these 3 in front, Blake Hensley, Logan Hagerman, and Cheeseburger Lawrence, who are now side by side as the leaders are coming. Oh, almost some contact. They were 4 wide from Brian Nudie, the big loser in that one, falling all the way back to the back of the pack, although might be a race-winning move as he might be able to gain the speed to get the draft back up to the front as Brian Murrell Jr. now is taking over the lead. Joe Wright, though, fighting hard on the high side by himself. Doesn't have any help, but here comes Brian Nudie back to the pack. It's going to be pretty much clear sailing for these drivers, I think, for the rest of the race. No more lap traffic to make it interesting as Joe Wright is now on the top 3 wide. Nick Mather down to the apron, has to slide back up onto the banking to get that car to stick. These tires are getting hot. You won't be able to run that apron like you were earlier when the tires were cool. Just over 3 minutes remaining here at Atlanta. Junior catches the apron, pushes up the track, almost catches Todd Mayse as Joe Wright currently out in front. Brian Nudie, though, trying to find a way to draft himself back up into the mix. And these drivers really letting Joe get way out in front of them. That's going to be a disadvantage to Joe as he's going to be able to use the draft. And oh, some contact between Todd Mayse and Nick Mather. As they're 3 wide, Brian Canuti on the low side trying to get by Mayse and Mather. Just under 2.5 minutes to go. Now Brian Murrell Jr. taking a look down to the inside of Joe Wright. Joe trying to use a little side draft to pull that 874 machine back. They are coming up on the lapper of Eddie Morris. Oh, Eddie gets punted gets turned around. And Joe Wright continues to lead as they work around the 13 of Derek Chaput. Not really sure what happened. Oh, some contact between Murrell Jr. and Joe Wright is what happened to send them into Eddie Morris. But Eddie able to get that thing fired up and back rolling. He does have a whole lap lead over the next Miata of Blake Hensley. Now we have a 4-car battle for the win as Nick Mather suffered a lot of damage. He is way far back by himself. That's allowing Joe Wright to battle up front. He's got Brian Murrell Jr. giving him the big push. Come across the stripe. We're going to have just 30 seconds to go before the white flag comes out. Brian Murrell Jr. Oh, Brian Nudie into Jr. Two Brian's able to hold on to it. Uncle Todd now up on that high side, rim riding, trying to get the momentum to get himself up here into the mix as well. As Jr. tucks in behind Todd Mayse. Nudie now has Nick Mather looking down to the inside. Could those two draft up to each other as Joe comes around to cross the line this time? We're going to have one more lap after this, so we actually have 2 more laps to go. The timer was still running when Joe Wright crossed the line, so... Oh, some contact. Joe Wright, Uncle Todd. Joe doing a 4-wheel drift through turns 1 and 2. Junior now trying to get to the back bumper as they make their way into turns 3 and 4. And we see some full contact as Joe gets turned by Junior. They're all wrecking. Oh, Nick Mather catches Joe as well. White flag is in the air now. 1 lap to go. Oh, that was the checker flag. I take that back. We did see the white flag. So your winner tonight is the 74 of Brian Murrell Jr. Your winner in the Miata class after getting spun will be the 8 of Eddie Morris. And your winner coming down to the line. There's still a battle here as Logan Hagerman is trying to get around Cheeseburger. Oh, they make contact at the line. They spin around, but Cheeseburger is going to win his class here at Atlanta. And Brad Murrell Jr. making his way down to the front stretch to celebrate. Let's take a look at the results. First, we'll just take a look at the overall results. Brian Murrell Jr. gets your overall win over Brian Nudie, Todd Mayse, Nick Mather, Joe Wright. In Class 2, we saw Eddie Morris get the victory by 11 seconds over Blake Hensley, Michael Provolt, Devin Bacino, and Sylvan Seguin. And then in the third class, which was the Pontiacs, we see Michael Lawrence, Hagerman, and Derek Chaput. So overall, your winners tonight. And let's see who we have here in the waiting room. We'll pull in our Pontiac winner, Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence. Cheesy B, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me? Oh. Cheesy B, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, I got you.
Man, great job tonight getting the win in your division. It was a wild one out there for sure, especially with those Mustangs coming zipping by the way they were. Describe the experience out there in these slow Pontiacs as those Mustangs are ripping by.
Very strange. Like, because we're battling side by side, and all of a sudden they just fly by you so quick you don't even have a chance to react. It's just they're there. But the more exciting part was the Miatas pushing two solstices, picking each other to try and win. And these solstices are so hard to hang on to. They're sideways when they're getting shoved.
Yeah, they didn't look like they had the power on the start to get going, but once they got in the draft, they were pretty much equal speed as the Miatas. So kind of give you a little bit of advantage having to be able to draft with those guys as well, huh?
Definitely, when you catch with them, you can use them to kind of pick and choose and try and pull alongside. But it was one of the weirdest races I've ever been in.
Well, getting the win here tonight in your division, anytime you get a win, doesn't matter how many cars involved, it's always a fun thing to win. So congratulations for that. You get the $5 courtesy of Mayse Construction. Don't spend it all in one place. And who you want to thank? Any shout outs you got tonight?
My wife for putting up with me doing all this, my job for letting me have night times off to do this, and just everybody just putting on a good show and having fun.
Awesome, man. Well, great job tonight. Looked like a lot of fun out there, and wild for sure. So congratulations on the win, and looking forward to racing against you in the Xfinity Series once the season starts.
Oh yeah, I'll be there as always.
Have a great night.
You too.
Let's bring in our Mazda winner tonight, Eddie Morris, excuse me. Eddie, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, brother. How's it going?
Man, I'm doing well. You got the win in your class, even though you got spun there right there at the end as the Mustangs were battling. How much does these Miatas run like your Z?
I think my Z could take them.
But a lot of fun. You guys were battling pretty hard back there. Those the Miatas with the solstices as well. It looked like a lot of fun out there. The way you guys were beating and banging and battling there.
Yeah, it definitely was pretty fun. There was a lot of logging laps, and that's kind of what I was doing, and then just trying to see how long it would take for this car to get a run in the draft. And I was just kind of waiting to see if I would have to use it at the end, and I don't know what happened. It was a big old mess. I was in the process of lifting and letting Devin back in, and next thing you know, I seen him all wrecking to the right of me, and I was luckily able to avoid it. And yeah, it was some pretty fun racing, man.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun out there, and happy to see you come home with the victory tonight. And how wild was it watching those Mustangs come zipping by you guys out there?
Oh man, like it was definitely wild. As a race car driver, it's a hopeless feeling because those guys are going faster than you are, and that's never fun. But yeah, it was pretty interesting, man. Just having the different classes and being mindful as to how long you can latch onto those Mustangs before they're just gone, and there's no draft to be had for them. The Mazda's drafted well in the. I know you couldn't push the solstices at all because those rounded bodies. I guess I don't know. Learned that in practice. So, but yeah, it was definitely it was a blast.
Well, again, congratulations! You get the $5 courtesy of Mayse Construction tonight. And before we let you go, anyone you want to thank? Any shout out you got to give?
Man, just Intensity Broadcasting, the best broadcasters in the business. Shout out to Fortuna Iron for coming on board for the Truck Series this year. Dev Sports Cards for coming on with the Xfinity Series this year. It's going to be a lot of great racing and looking forward to the season to get started. And of course, Morris Customs. I've been working pretty hard on some paints, and it's not been 100% with them, so I'm still trying to churn them out. But yeah, man, everybody that lets me do this.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congrats. And with the season starting up pretty soon, we're glad to be back on track with you. So we'll talk to you real soon.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
So that was your second place finisher, Eddie Morris. Let's bring in your winner tonight, overall class winner. Overall class winner and winner of his division, Brian Murrell Jr. Brian, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Man, that was a wild finish there at the end. You guys caught the Miatas in all the wrong places, and it just looked wild out there altogether with the different classes of cars and how much speed you guys had approaching those slower cars. How nerve-wracking was it, especially when you were 3, 4, and 5 wide at times?
It was just like normal speedway racing. These cars, you could save them a little bit when they got sideways. But first and foremost, I got to apologize to Joe. He got bumped by, I think Todd came up in front of me down the back straightaway. I got a good run on him. He tried to block. There was what I thought was enough room since there was no out of bounds. I got into his left rear and turned him. So I do apologize. I just wasn't going to lift on the last lap. And I hope he sees this, hears this, and accepts my apology. Other than that, the racing was fun. Got kind of boring in the middle there. You're just kind of riding around, but that's super speedway style racing. So once everybody packed back up and you got those guys running 3 wide and you had to pass them on the bottom. I think Mather and I went to the bottom and we passed 3 or 4 Miatas. That was pretty cool. I think Todd got stuck behind him, so it was just a pick your line kind of moment.
For sure. And how about this? You were kind of the master of these special events, winning all-star races and these little fun races like this. So you probably hope we have a few more of these things, huh?
Yeah, I guess I enjoy these. I don't know what it is about the actual league races, but man, I just can't seem to get it done as well as I'd like to. I wouldn't say I won this race. I'd say I probably wrecked my way to this race. So, like I said, apologies to my buddy Joe there. If I could, I'd give him a big old hug and a kiss on the cheek, because he threw the right block at the right time, and I was just over aggressive. So, but yeah, winning's always fun. I don't know why I can't win a big race, but we'll see if we can't find a couple of those this year.
For sure, as the season is going to be starting up next week. I'm looking forward to racing with you back on track, even though we've had our scuffles in the past. I always enjoy running around you, and I'm sure you feel the same way. So before we let you go, anybody you want to thank? Any shots you got to give here tonight?
My girlfriend, as always. Joe and Eddie, last week I got a new computer, and I've switched to running VR. And Joe put in some long hours. I think that's what makes this even worse. And, stayed up some late nights trying to work on my computer through, him running it, me just giving him a code to get into it, setting me all up. Eddie's been great with the VR. You helped me a little bit with the VR. So thanks to you guys and Intensity Broadcasting and Brian Canuti and Mayse Construction, Dev Sports Cards, and Michael Provolt and Fortune Iron.
Awesome, man. Well, you're welcome for all the help I could give. I know it wasn't too much, but I know it's a team effort to help each other out here, and I know you're enjoying that VR even when you were flipping through the air earlier.
Yeah, I was laughing pretty hard because about first or second time I really got motion sick using the VR. So it's definitely a different experience, but I recommend it to all.
I feel the same way. The only time I've ever really been motion sick is going backwards. So
yeah,
that's definitely the weirdest feeling. That's the weirdest feeling. But again, congrats on the win tonight. You get the $5 from Mayse Construction, and again, I look forward to racing with you all season long in the Xfinity Series.
Hey, anytime I can take Uncle Todd's money, it's a good night.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
All right, thanks, bud.
So there you have it. Your SCSRA fun run tonight, and I know I do realize that the wrong league name is up there. I tried to fix it. For some reason, my timing and scoring just does not want to do it for me today. So I do apologize for the technical difficulties as well. But hey, it was a lot of fun to call this race. Again, we hope you join us back here next week as Tuesday Night Trucks kick off again. you'll have me live on the call on our Tuesday night truck doubleheader. It is the final race of the Doghouse Racing League as well, so you're not going to want to miss that for the season finale. Join us here for both races on Tuesday, then Wednesday night. We've got the Xfinity Series kicking back off. Thursday night, Thunderstruck. Friday night, Xfinity with the original Rebels. Saturday night, Send It Cup Series. Sunday night, truck doubleheader, and the Extreme Forces is back on Monday night. So join us live here on iRacing on Intensity Broadcasting 7 nights a week. And congratulations to all our winners, Brian Murrell Jr., Eddie Morris, and Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence. As our boy Atlee Atman Weiss would say, over and out.